Yeah, we live.
We live?
We live.
Live.
So, guys, welcome back. I think this is podcast number 5.
Number 5.
And the man, he made the legend. So, well, this guy here is my oldest friend that I've had on the podcast so far. How long were you living next door to me? I tried to calculate it earlier today
Let's
and
see.
I couldn't.
First time I moved, I was 4. No, I wasn't. That's wrong. Jeez. I think, Shannon's first Christmas was in Santa Cruz. So that would have been 2005.
Shannon was now born. Wait,
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then I moved about 5-6 years ago, I think. So 2005 to 2014, about 9 years.
Yeah.
Neighbors for 9 years.
9 years, I know this crackhead.
Crackhead, yeah.
Nah, but if it's one thing about Dion Carrington, like, he's a man you don't forget. Like,
Hey.
I'm telling you.
I could take that.
You could take that.
I could take
right?
that.
And it's making sense because usually you'll see this man smiling or you'll see him. First of all, for those who I want you all to throw your minds back about 2 years ago. Drink more water.
Yo,
That was this guy, you know. That was this
drink
guy.
more water 2018, boy.
He went on board with his water.
Yes.
And drank it.
And a full blue kit.
Yeah.
And a full blue kit. Yeah.
Those kind of things prove that Dion, when he says he's doing something, do not doubt him.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
Now, today we're going to talk about different topics having to do with culture, particularly music. Now, usually, when people hear that, they immediately think someone who could play guitar, play piano, who really So, if you could explain to people,
themselves.
if you could explain to people what inspired you to get into music and where do you fit in right now?
Okay. All right. That's fairly simple. Like I could keep that one short. I could keep that concise. My love for music, for the arts, kind of started when I was in Form 6. I started listening to like music, like actually getting into music, you know. I really wasn't interested in anything too much at that point. And I started searching for new music, you know, like things I could actually listen to, artists I could start getting into. And I remember it started with a Black Eyed Peas song, you know, and then I started learning like more about the music industry. I learned that there were songs for radio and then there were albums and there were songs on albums that would never make it to the radio and stuff like that. And I was like, there's so much good music out there. And then obviously what you did at that age was you downloaded LimeWire.
I can't relate.
And you got all your music, you know, illegally or whatever. And you'd vibe to it. And then I learned about this guy. Well, first of all, I got a love for albums because it's like one song, a hit, a single is all right, but you can't fit all your thoughts, all your feelings into one song. A body of work, an album, an EP, that's where like an artist can really say how they feel. And I heard about this guy, Childish Gambino. And I really got into Childish Gambino. I'm not going to tell that whole story here because that would be half of the podcast. Right? After getting into Childish Gambino, I got into other artists like him, Chance the Rapper, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. And I was like, this is amazing. There's so much great music out there. Like, this is fantastic. And then I asked myself, but what do we have here? Like, what is there in Trinidad and Tobago? Like, obviously, we can create great music. Calypso was birthed here. From Calypso, it evolved into SOCA, and then SOCA has its own branches as well. Some that are native to Trinidad and Tobago and others that are native to other islands. But, like, we have supreme talent in this country, right? So I wanted to start looking into that and seeing maybe even how I could help, how I could take this thing to the world, how I could take our talents to the world, how I could just assist. Because to have talent and to not have a platform for it and we see that the platforms aren't doing their job properly, right, is unfortunate. Because I talk about Carnival all the time, and the fact that when 2 weeks coming down the wire, 2 weeks before Carnival, Monday and Tuesday, all you're hearing is Marshall, Kes, Bungie, Iowa, maybe Fair and Astra, Patricia Roberts. What about the 150 other soca artists, 200 other soca artists who have good music out there too?
Big tunes.
And there's not all of them who would have great songs, fantastic songs, but a lot of them have good music and you don't hear it because of reasons that most of us know, So it's like, why is that? And why isn't there a place where everybody can get, an equal platform, an equal opportunity? And I decided I could be that guy. I could be that guy. I could create that platform, and I created a platform called Creative Collective TT, which then evolved and became Anything Really TT or Art, which has just about 1,600 followers on Instagram today, 200 on Twitter. We relatively new on Twitter, and continue to build and grow.
I like that.
Yeah.
So y'all, of course, that link is going to be in the description. Please check it out.
Yes, for sure.
And you're telling me some things in the making there.
Hey, yeah.
Right.
So we took a short hiatus for about a month, maybe nearer to 2 months, but we'll be back soon, shortly after this podcast drops. We'll be back again with something special. Every time we take a break, we make sure to come with something special, something new for our followers to really get into, because they appreciate the work that we do. They want to see us do more. They want to see more local art because it's amazing.
I agree.
It's amazing.
100%. Speaking about coming back soon, recently I was just scrolling through my Instagram and I came across a post by Salty.
Right.
And it was a clip of our Prime Minister saying that they need to keep the entertainment industry sort of curtailed. No more parties. Well, not no more. Still no parties.
At this point in time.
Yeah. At this point in time. So at first when I spoke to you, I was like, I want to hear your response. What do you think? You think that these artists making sense? Do you think that they're just being inconsiderate to the plight of the wider population? So can you give me your thoughts on that, especially with respect to what happened recently?
Right. Yeah. So initially, as you know, I did not know of Salty's post, and I was kind of lost. And I said, well, you have to direct me to it so I could see what's really going on. And what he said, for those who haven't seen it, is basically that it's not just the patrons who are being affected. It's not just the DJs. It's not just the artists. It's hairdressers. It's graphic designers. It's all these different people that work in and around the industry whose income has been affected because of this thing. And from the very beginning of the COVID-19 lockdown in Trinidad and Tobago, my thoughts were basically, this is the health of the nation that we're talking about. Like, the world is on pause and people just have to accept that. And yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, it's going to be hard as hell. And but it is what it is. This is literally something that nobody was prepared for, and the government is literally just trying their best. That's all that they can do. Now, for 80 days to pass and for you to not know what's going to happen in your industry where you make your money and how you pay your bills, it's hard.
It is.
That's tough. So I commend Salty for saying, or for speaking out and saying, well, hear what? We need to hear something, and we need to hear it as soon as possible, because this is not cutting it. Bills are to pay, children need to be fed, so I commend him on that. But we've seen in recent days that we now have evidence of community spread, with Republic Bank having to close one of their branches so that they could clean. Same thing with
Pennywise.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the basis of his argument or of his fights,
Kind of felt.
it fell through like just like that, and that's really sad. But it is what it is, and they just have to tough it out. What I've heard from a lot of creatives, from a lot of artists in these spaces, they're looking to try and find new means to make money during this time, and that's what you have to do. You have to use your creativity and channel it in another direction, see what you can do, and it's not going to be easy by any means. It's not going to be easy, but it's what needs to be done.
I agree fully. I think it's a little tough too. Like if you follow, let's say, U.S. politics or international politics for that matter. Let's take US for example. They aren't getting that much better for the amount of freedoms that they grant to the population. So
yeah, they're in a mess.
They're in a mess, and they're continuing to open a lot of their industries and trying to go back to normal. And maybe the mentality, maybe everybody else is just like fed up with the lockdown, you know, and everybody else is opening up. Why can't we?
It's not easy to be stuck in your house 24/7.
It isn't.
You know.
But I as you said, I commend him. I mean, I always think that I was actually surprised that a lot of people weren't speaking out.
Right.
That you know, and well, I mean, I was supporting him almost fully until recently,
right.
And I was kind of like, that's rough.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough, and that's all that it is, and that's all that can be said. But I hope that something is put in place. I know that. There's a grant right now. The government is giving artists, people who make their money solely from the arts, a $5,000 grant, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Yeah.
They just have to apply for it and they can get through. Now, $5,000 isn't all the money in the world, but it's something. It's a start, you know. And I think that the artists who have gotten through that or have taken advantage of that initiative. Grateful for it. I think that's safe to say.
That's good. All right, so let's jump into the meat of the matter.
Yes.
First thing, we hit in dancehall. Now, I mentioned for like 2 seconds that, Dion, I'm not a professional into dancehall, mostly because I would have grown up in a very religious household, and for me to turn on one of those songs in the car or in my house means I am going to die.
Yeah, really frowned upon. Yes. We'll leave it that way.
Yes. But as I grew older, I started going out a lot more, and I realized how important and how amazing actually the dancehall genre is. Now, I can't say that I approve of all the lyrical content. I can't say that I can relate to a lot of the lyrical content. But as it usually is with these matters, it's not that simple, right? It may be vulgar for a specific reason, and not all songs are vulgar, all right?
Correct.
Right? Like Dreams, I like that song.
Right.
All right.
Rayon Albon is fantastic.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is. So the first thing I want to know, all right, with respect to these, let's say, dancehall lyrics and these dancehall figures, right? How do you see their impact on our culture? Is it positive, negative, or?
Okay. I think that their impact is huge. I also think that it's much bigger than the average person knows, even the average person who listens to the dancehall now. I, like yourself, don't listen to too much of it. I have to keep abreast with all or as much music as I can in terms of music that's being released locally. But I don't, so I hear almost all of it, but I don't listen to almost all of it. I think if I listen to, let's say I listen to all of it, I might, or if I hear all of it, I might listen to 2%. On a regular basis, or like really go back to a song and be like, wow, I love this song, and I could continue vibing to it. It's just not my preferred genre, but it is extremely important. What we tend to see in the arts is that it reflects feeling, right? It reflects people's feelings and emotions and whatnot. And I think that dancehall in Trinidad and Tobago relates to dancehall in Jamaica very, very, very easily. in terms of the way that it has come about, right? I believe that this explosion, because we're seeing over 60 artists, I don't think that's an exaggeration, creating dancehall music in Trinidad and Tobago and doing well. I think that this explosion has come out because the SOCA industry is so limited, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. Because it's so difficult to succeed in the SOCA industry, people decided there has to be another way. What Trinidadians have also been trying to get into for a long time is rap, whether it be traditional rap and hip hop or it be rap soul. We've tried and we don't necessarily make it, you know, like we don't have a Marshall of rap. We don't have that. We could name some Trinidadian rappers, you know, there's some great ones out there. I'll even shout out J-Naj and Raekwon 868 if anybody wants to like get into local rap. Like those are two of my favorite local rappers, but it doesn't get you to that point. They've never gotten to that point. They've never gotten to Prince Swanee status. They've never gotten to God Rest His Soul, Rebel, and K-Lion. They've never gotten to that status. They have fans all over the world. Prince Swanee has a song coming out with Burna Boy. Do you know how huge that is? That's colossal. That's not normal. We don't see that happening outside of SOCA in Trinidad and Tobago. We've had some monster collabs over the years in SOCA. That's fantastic. But we've never seen that outside of SOCA in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's because, I believe, of this suppression that has happened over the years in the SOCA industry. Persons are looking for a new avenue now, one that works. Dancehall is popular. It worked in Jamaica, and it's working in Trinidad and Tobago. So the impact is huge. Some people don't necessarily know how big it is, and that's absolutely fine, but it's going to start showing itself very soon. But it's
coming.
It's here. It's not coming, it's here. You know? And I strongly believe that dancehall is going to take SOCA where it needs to go.
Interesting.
And I'll just leave that as a statement for now. Maybe later on I might go a bit further, but I'll leave that just
Prophet
as a statement
Dion.
for now. Prophet Dion, yeah.
I think what's really interesting with it, I didn't understand how far-reaching it was. Maybe by the view count on YouTube it's huge. But firstly, when the kind of idea that these people repped their cities, repped their towns, I could see a following and a massive following, like BIL.
Right, BIL.
Right? Even the song that came out of Santa Cruz.
Right, CJ Dan.
Yeah, I felt like that was my song.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is super important, and that's something that isn't captured in SOCA a lot. But when we start talking about SOCA, we'll get into those problems and those issues, at least from my perspective. But repping your set is it. You want to be proud of where you're from. That's what we see. You know, that's what we hear in Jamaican music. That's what we hear in rap and hip hop, or even pop music now, and R&B in the States. People are proud of where they've come from, and you don't necessarily have to be proud of the good things only. You can be proud of just the things that make you, and exactly. People might see that as bad, but it's part of who you are, you know, part of your dynamic, and you have to, this is going to sound strange, but use your privilege, whatever it might be. And even though some people don't see it that way, these people are privileged to come from where they come from, because I can never have that story, which means I can never tell that story authentically, right? I like to talk about Tupac and Biggie. Like, they were huge because they knew how to tell their story. They knew how to make people relate to their experiences, right? And I think our dancehall artists are doing the very same thing today, right? Which, if you're okay with it, I think I might take this into the direction that I really, really want to, which is talking a little bit about art history.
All right,
Right?
talk to me.
So Luke is gonna put the link in the description, but there's a video on YouTube that explains it really, really well. It talks about romanticism. Romanticism is the era of art from the 1750s, 1750s to 1900, right? And in that era, that was the first time that art was based off of, or art thinking, philosophy, anything along those lines. It was based off of a feeling as opposed to an understanding, right? And in that era is when we started as humans developing new ways of thinking, of moving, of even educating. Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote a book called Emile, or On Education, where, let me just get my notes here. I told you I have some quotes for you. The book was entitled Emile, or On Education, which discusses the oppressive world of adults and praises the natural goodness, spontaneity, and wisdom of little children, right? So it's all about revolt, but revolt in a positive, passionate way, as opposed to, let's say, the revolts that we've learned about in our history textbooks. And this is the part that I think is going to blow your mind, because it ties it ties this conversation that we're having right now back to the conversation that you had last week with the Archbishop really well. The quote goes, "Romanticism borrows from Christianity in that the romantic has a secularized Christ-like figure, the loser, who is in truth deeply noble in the eyes of a few who understand." Right? So there's several stories of persons who have lived their life for an art form, lived their life for an idea, for a desire, and they would not let the world change that. They've held on to that, and they've lost their life as a result of it. And those people were then held to a high standard as a result. We saw it with, some of the first stories would have been with, I believe it was an English poet, 17 years old, right? He was just really into his heart and soul and expressing himself. But his family wanted him to be a lawyer. So he drugged himself with arsenic and died and became a pillar. People looked up to him for his thoughts and beliefs and his dedication to being himself. And I think that it goes all the way to rebel, right? And that's kind of crazy, but look at how these men have influenced their spaces by their beliefs and their ideologies.
Something there, I was going to continue on the idea that what struck me when I realized the extent to which dancehall had reached. One of my friends, when Rebel died, cried.
Yeah.
And that struck me. I was like...
So you don't know this man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Right,
and also, I'm trying to think of artists that I would cry for. And then I started...
And you couldn't think of anyone.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But even if, I was like, if this person was to go out, I may have to shed some tears. But then where would that tears come from? And that would mean that these people are more than just like their music. It's so
an
strange.
idea.
Yeah.
It's an idea, and I think what they promote more than anything else is a sense of freedom, and I think that's why the youth have accepted them so much, because as you all spoke about in your last episode, it's the youth's job to rebel. As Jean-Jacques Rousseau spoke about in his book Emile, it's the youth's job to rebel, to not conform to the norms of the adult, to want a new way of living, of existing, of being. So it might not seem normal, but it is. That's what it is. And another quote which I just read and remembered is, to be a romantic is to have sympathy for madness. And I think that that's just the best and easiest way to put it. It's crazy. Like, it should make sense. It really should make sense, the connections that have been made, but...
I'm
That's what it
thinking
is.
one of the biggest artists on the world stage right now is a guy named Jacob Collier,
Okay.
and he's like, I think he's my age,
Mm.
and he's crazy. He's crazy, but crazy in a ridiculously passionate way. Like
Yeah.
hearing him talking about music, I can't talk about anything like that.
Right,
I,
right.
And he like embodies it fully. He wears these strangest clothes, like these baggy, flamboyant kind of pants, and he's always barefooted. He's always like, his air is like so ridiculous. Like how the arts could take you to like a higher place. Like as you said, it's almost calling to something transcendental.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is really amazing.
Yeah.
No, I don't want us to get too carried away in all the emotion.
Yeah, with that, I have some tears running up my eyes. I get weak.
So, let's see where. Okay, we're looking at dancehall now. Let's look at it from the outside perspective. Where's this heading? The reason why I wanted to ask this particularly is something, I don't know if I mentioned this in the notes that I sent you, but they introduced dancehall into Fantastic Friday.
Yes.
The reason why I found that so strange.
That's actually not the first time that dancehall has made itself present
Really?
in Fantastic Friday, the Soca Monarch. That's not the first time. They've invited Jamaican dancehall artists before to perform at like the halftime or whatever, the break between Groovy and Power.
No, I have something just to say there. Do you think, this is on a side note, I think that we should change dance. I don't want to call it Trini dancehall anymore. That's me.
Or
personally.
TRINIBAD.
I want to call it TRINIBAD.
Oh, you want to call it TRINIBAD?
The reason why is that I feel that, and my brother was telling me about this, like, our dancehall, yes, it's similar to Jamaican's own in a sense, but we've taken it to a different place, I find.
Okay.
And some of the dancehall that you'll hear in Jamaica calls for a certain type of behavior, like in parties, when you hear Jamaican dancehall.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, as a dance you're about to do.
Yeah.
Or just, you know, while out or something. It's almost call and response like soca's.
Yeah. But when you hear Trini dancehall, what happens in a party? You look around, you just see people handing.
Yeah, everyone just loses their mind.
Just,
but it's all happening at the same time. It's everyone doing the same thing.
But it's kind of like different feelings. So maybe it's a slightly different genre, and I don't know if it's matured in a way and identified itself to completely separate from dancehall. But I really want us to claim a new genre for our own.
That's interesting. On the surface, I feel, and I could be wrong, I don't know the technicalities behind it. I feel like it's a lot of the same. It's or Trini dancehall or TRINIBAD definitely has its roots in Jamaican dancehall, which is absolutely okay. I think that to call it TRINIBAD is also absolutely fine. It just shows that this branch of dancehall has its roots in Trinidad. That's where it's based. That's why it has this name. It's because it's influenced by, created by Trinidadians. Therefore, it is TRINIBAD. Also, just to say, they have some Tobago TRINIBAD artists too that
Ooh, they can get thrown.
Unfortunately, they're not killing it because it's harder for them to get a name. But they bad, like they're talented though. Like
Right.
they're talented. Like if I remember his name, I'll give it. There's Sav. I don't know if he says Sav or S-E-V, but he's pretty cool and he does like a blend. So you do some sing-songy ones and then he'll do like, you know, dance tunes or whatever. But he's hard. He's hard and people wouldn't know because that's not on their radar, you know?
Right, so going back to the idea of dancehall coming in, well, apparently it's not for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's
but
not.
This is the first time it's Trini dancehall.
This is the first time that it's Trini dancehall.
One of the reasons I find that so interesting is because Trini music so far of our history has been very seasonal. Obviously, the most obvious is SOCA. SOCA, it seems to be a 3-month venture.
Right.
Right? And then around Christmas time, we have our 2 months of soca parang and parang music.
Right.
Right? And then, well, you'll start to hear maybe Irfan, I was like to drop a early soca. So you'll hear soca since September to load up for the
Right,
carnival. But it seems that we've really restricted certain genres to certain time periods. But I think with dancehall, which is really interesting, is that we've decided to, let's inject this into the soca time. You
Right.
know what? This is running the summer. Summer is dancehall time.
The Java.
Yeah, Java. Oh my gosh. I actually really appreciate us coming up with that.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I was so pissed that we used to call it summer, but watch me now. Right? So why do you think, or do you think that dancehall is going to go seasonal, or do you think that it's a good thing it isn't?
I do not think that dancehall will become seasonal. To answer that question, I do want to pitch something out there.
Talk to me.
Which is, I want to ask you, other than Christmas music, is there any genre of music that you know that's limited to a period of time during the year?
Not really.
And I'm not just
It's
talking about the
kind of-
playing of it, I'm talking about the releasing of it as well.
Well, from what I've experienced now, I'm not the most technical when it comes to music, so I wouldn't watch it on such a macro scale as
Right.
you. I like certain songs, so I listen to it.
Right, okay.
But I listen to it regardless
Right,
of the season.
right.
Maybe I may intersperse it with more local music depending on the season, of course. But I can't say that any other genre except that we have is so seasonal. However, from talking to Luke Walker off air, he was saying that when I mentioned that to him, he was saying music on a global scale kind of tends to shift a little for, like, say, some hits. So they may have some songs like boppy music releasing, same genre though, with different types of feel. So he sees,
For sure.
he's saying that, and I kind of agree that the genre may not change, but the feeling they're trying to evoke will change.
Okay.
I think Trinidad just takes it to the extreme, and we just do different genres.
Right,
You know?
okay, that's fair. Nowhere else in the world has seasonal music. And I'm saying again, outside of Christmas. Like, that's religious, that's completely different. We're talking music made for entertainment purposes, right? Music made for charts, music made for artists to make money. We're talking that kind of music. There's nowhere else in the world that makes seasonal music except for Trinidad and Tobago for soca music in Carnival. And that's also a new thing. Calypso was not limited to a season. Yes, Carnival was the height of Calypso, and that's when maybe the majority of the music would have come out. But that's when you'd see artists performing on a grand scale, because that was the
It's like festival season, I guess.
right. That was the festival. That was the culture behind it. That was the space for the performances. But we have over time made, how to say it, we've made soca a genre of music for Carnival. And my dad and I like to use the term festival music. Right? It's almost as though all soca has to be related to Carnival, or else it's not soca.
True.
Which limits the genre on a grand scale. Right? I also don't think that there's any other art form that only talks about one thing.
Like soca does.
Like soca does.
Interesting.
People are even complaining about local dancehall because they find that there's too much gunman music, and they want gal tune now. Right? They want gal to bend and whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right?
saying. That's what
Right?
we seem to like lock into that space right now.
So it's like an art form is not based off of its lyrical content. It's the delivery. It's the music around the words. It's the way that the words are given, the cadence. It's the way that it's delivered over the mic. That's like, so there could be a soca song that has nothing to do with Carnival, and we see it. We see it now because of I think Irfan Alves was the person who started this new trend, which was releasing soca outside of the season with a purpose. right? His No Seasons project. So every year for the past 3 or 4 years, he's been releasing songs. Voice has been releasing songs out of season. And that's fantastic. And we need a whole heap more of that. There's, I think, if I remember the numbers correctly, by November 2019, there were, I think it was 1,200 new soca songs had come out. And we know that soca songs only start coming out in September, maybe. Maybe that early. So it's really more like October we're looking at. 1,200 songs over the span of 8 to 12 weeks. That's 100 songs every week.
That's crazy.
What is the the probability. What's the probability of, or what's the possibility that all 100 of those songs are going to get an equal opportunity on the radio? What is it? It's almost impossible, because there are going to be some songs that are better than others, and that's absolutely fine.
And you only have so much time to
that
play.
has to happen. Obviously, there's going to be some songs that are better than others. That's. I'm not complaining about that.
The thing with being a DJ too is that you want people to know you running the bangers.
Right,
So
exactly. So if you're just playing, the guys who do get the radio play, they don't want to listen to you unless those songs are the bangers for the year.
Yeah.
What's a good example, boy? I love to use Michael Teja as an example. Because Michael Teja coming up has always made excellent music, which is the reason why he's always played on the radio. Now, he won't be played on the radio as much as he might like to be played on the radio, but he's still always on the radio, right? And that's because he's making quality music. But then there'll be the artists who just making the average soca song, which is jump and wave, get on, while carry on, wine and a girl, hold a bumper, whatever. And then again, airplay. Now, I'm not saying that we should play every soca song that released, but if all of it is released in a strict time period, the art form is going to suffer. And then, of course, we have to talk about rhythms.
Right. That's a serious thing.
Right.
Because maybe I don't know. I think people are seeing that as a solution to the problem that you identify.
Rhythms?
That you're getting stifled into 3 months, and they're seeing rhythms as a way to get out. No. Something I mentioned last podcast, with the podcast with Luke Walker, was that I find these rhythms are amazing, though.
The rhythms are great.
Right? And I think
Don't get me wrong.
because they're so good, they kind of give a lot of artists the easy way out.
That, and it gives us, the listener, a false understanding or belief that the music is, that it reaches the potential that it should reach. I'll say it that way. I think that we need to start thinking about rhythms the way that it actually is and the way that it's given to us. A rhythm is essentially a 12-minute song with 3 or 4 artists on it. Especially the way that it's given to us. Because when the rhythm drops, the DJs play all of the songs on the rhythm. They'll play voice song, into Irfan song, into Kes song if you have something on the rhythm, into Marshall. And they'll play as much of the song as possible, which will probably be about 2.5 minutes. Into the next song. And the way that Trinis are, we could hype anything.
Yeah, for sure.
So it works. But how long is it going to work for? That's my thing. And I think that rhythms, or diving deeper into this rhythm culture, is putting quantity over quality. And I don't think that that's going to benefit us in the long run.
Interesting. I could get on board with that. I just think that it's almost inevitable that people turn to that, because let's see. Okay, so what would you say is a possible solution other than shifting our culture to listen to music year round, to allow artists to really get their creativity?
The very first thing that needs to happen is that soca needs to be released year round.
Yeah.
Soca also needs to stop being made for carnival. What I mean by that is not that we will not play soca at carnival time. It's just that we need to stop limiting ourselves to what soca is. Soca is not just carnival music. Soca is an art form, and an art form can only flourish when artists are given space to create, to express. That's what art is, self-expression, right? And if artists are not given a space to express, all they are left to do is either force a space to express or succumb to the norm and continue creating what people want them to create, right? Unfortunately, our princess of soca, Nyla Blackman, was dragged for it on Twitter. And I think she was dragged because she didn't quite get the message across, the right message across with his statement. And it's hard. 280 characters is difficult to say exactly what you want to say, right? We're not going to talk about Twitter because we'll be here forever. But I think what she meant was that she feels limited as an artist to the kind of music that she can make. And if there's anyone out there who has listened to her first EP, The Real, you'd know or understand better what she meant. Now, most of it is not soca. I think there's only one soca song on there, right? And it's 7 songs. But that is one of the best bodies of work to come out of this country for a while. It is excellent. And anybody who disagrees with that, fine, that's your opinion, that's cool. But I think that it's safe to say that that's one of the best bodies. That is better, and I'm gonna make this statement right now. It's gonna be harsh. That is better than any album that Marshall Montano has put out over the past 10 years. I'm making that statement.
Respect. I like that statement.
Because Marshall makes albums like DJ Khaled makes albums. He tries to make 20 hits. That's hard. That's hard. Drake, the king of hits, can't make 20 hits and make an album out of 20 hits. That's a fantastic album. You can have 20 hits and that could work. But to put 20 hits together as a body of work,
that's rough.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do because each song in an album has to play its part in making the entire thing enjoyable. It can't just be
the same thing over.
First song is a banger, second song is a banger, third song is a banger, fourth song is
moods, tell a story kind of thing.
Exactly. DJ Rocker spoke about that a little bit as well. He's part of Freetown Collective. And he said a lot of albums aren't being made that way anymore. There's still albums out there that are being made that way, but you have to take the listener through a journey. It can't just be right through. It can't. And even if it is, you need to find a creative way to do it. It can't just be, and this is my problem with trap music, very repetitive. They create about 10 to 15 seconds of a hard beat, and they loop that for 4.5 minutes. Come on. The music is not gonna last. We have to start making music that's gonna last again. It can't just last one season and we're okay with that.
You know what's really funny about that last thing you said is that some of the most timeless songs that have recently come out is from a specific genre. It's from, and in my opinion, it's going in the groovy soca direction.
Yes.
Right? And it's really funny because I honestly think that groovy soca is basically calypso in disguise. The reason being, some of those big, like, let's say, so calypso, I would say one of the main differences, besides the difference in tempos, is the lyrical content.
Yes.
Now, what are some songs that you can sing along in Carnival too with the lyrics? Like, let's say, this most recent song, I think my Skinny Banton is
Wrong Again.
Wrong Again. Right?
That's the first song that came to mind.
I know every lyric for that song, right? And that song isn't something that you wanna
when
jump
I say I'm
on
fed up with one.
that song's a deep boy.
Have you ever seen him perform it?
I think I did.
Yeah, no, the man is just be staring up and walking around. But that's the feeling of the song.
Everybody in the crowd,
the man turning, all they feel is joke I'm making. I don't want to hate on love, no. I really don't.
Sometimes I keep debating.
Exactly. And there's the feeling of music. And I think that the success of that song is because he went in a different direction.
But it's kind of interesting too because it seems counter to where we're heading. It seems like we're speeding
And
up,
that's
speeding
why
up,
it's
speeding up.
loved.
Another song that came out this year, Sometimes.
Right.
I can be your
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, when I tell you that
Tune.
song, the lyrical content, I really like it.
Yeah.
And this song that in the most recent years is going to last forever, Savannah Grass.
Correct.
He slowed it down, counter the movement, slowed it down. And you're feeling the calypso vibe in it, dog. And
That's
it's like,
why.
It's like, why we not heading in that direction? You know,
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why I'm saying now this I really like where Groovy Soca is going, but it seems to be reminiscent.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of the past, kind of bringing back calypso in a new form. Any thoughts on that? You like that?
I love it.
You love
I
it.
love it. And I when I first read the notes that you sent to me, I was like, that's that point right there. Can't wait to talk about it.
You're right.
Can't wait to talk about it because I think that you're right. But going a bit deeper than what you said that Groovy Soca borrows from calypso, and that it's not only focused on the sweet sound of the music, but also the lyrical content. But what is it about the lyrical content that we love so much? It's the storytelling aspect.
It's relatable.
And that's what calypso is. Storytelling. Storytelling with music. That's what we love about calypso. Right? And the root of calypso, as you may know, as most Trinidadians would know, I'd hope, is that was how people used to find out about news. That's why it was so political back in the day. They used to tell stories about what was going on.
Yeah.
You know
what made me realize that too? I think I'm almost finished reading Miguel Street by V.S. Naipaul.
Yeah.
And every few chapters he would say, this big thing happened in the country, and people started singing this. So it's kind of like, this thing happened in the country, people made calypsos to tell that story. It's sometimes very political, sometimes just funny, that kind of thing.
And it could be a naked man in the street in Port of Spain, and that's a song. That's actually a calypso. The naked man in Port of Spain. but what anybody in the world wants more than anything else is to be able to relate to a thing, to an idea, to someone else. Relating to other people, to other things, to other ideas is important. And I think that calypso as an art form captured that very, very, very well. However, all things need to evolve with time. That's why, unfortunately, calypso is a dying art form, because it needs to evolve. So it's not that it's dying, but it's evolving, and it has evolved into Groovy Soca. However, the issue that we find here is that Groovy Soca is starting to be, or it already is, or has transformed into festival music. So instead of telling stories, instead of being that voice that people could relate to, it's jump and wave and whine and get
just
on and
slower.
carry on. But
slow
slower.
it down, right, yeah.
But slower, so it'll be a sweet wine, right? And then that's it. But what more is it? It needs to be able to exist outside of the season. If it can't exist on its own without the season, then it's going to suffer. And yes, there are people that listen to soca year round, right round the year. That's cool. But if we want soca to not only be listened to in Trinidad and Tobago and the region, we have to make it more relatable. We have to make sweet songs that people could relate to, sweet songs that even teach you about something or make you feel a feeling, and it could be about one, like Skinny Banton, it could be, that's fine, but it needs to be more than jump and wave and whine and get on and carry on. And some of those songs are fantastic, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I love a bunch of them. I can't really think of any right now, and that's another problem. The fact that all of them are so similar, they start becoming the same song in your head, and that's not good. It needs to vary. It needs to be different, and it's done in other art forms, so it's not impossible. You can make soca about other things. Soca, as people love to say in Trinidad and Tobago, is a feeling. Soca is a feeling.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Which is fine, but the feeling can't the feeling comes with words, and the story can't be the same story every time. You'll get fed up with the story.
And oftentimes, if you keep tying it to the same feeling of those 2 days on the road, then it's hard to say that you want to get that feeling throughout the year because you're not in that.
I think it helps
space.
the carnival industry flourish, but it damages the music industry or soca in the music industry.
But I must say, as we keep mentioning Ufanals, I mad respect for that guy.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
That's from long time I've been saying this dude since his, I think I could be wrong, but I think his first song was Believing in your eyes too long, in your eyes, why you only play with me. Yeah, and that was a song about horn too. Well, it was a soca song, but it wasn't the way. Sorry, he didn't deliver it the way or tell the story the way that we've been accustomed to. It was a new way. It was a new style. It was feel the feelings that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And the song kind of sounds happy, you know, but it's real sad when you take it, the lyrics. It's real sad. We could even talk about, again, with lyrical content, and it doesn't have to stop at groovy soca. It could go into power soca too, because the reason why Iowa George and Kess won the road march this year is because of the lyrical content of that song. Nobody could tell me any different. That tells a story, and a story paints a picture. Right?
Stage gone.
Horse. First of all, the name of the song, I'm getting chills right now. The name of that song is intriguing. Right? I woke up one morning, went on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, Kess and I will have road march. Everybody was saying that, and I was like, Kess and I will? What that? I supposed to know what songs come up before everybody else. That's the rule, that's the position that I've, put myself in. So why is everybody talking about this song before I know about it? Right. So I was like, I had to go listen to this song. So I went, pull it up on my TV, whatever. But, and I was like, oh okay. All right, okay. And then they tell the story of Carnival Monday. You're making your way to the stage, and they take you through a journey. And then at the chorus is when you mash up. And from there, it sticks. That's powerful. That's powerful. People wanted to say Ramp Up was going to win Road March. What song? What's his name? Conch Shell. Lord have mercy. That's still killing me to this day, and I want to see the hate in the comments. Please put the hate in the comments. I want to see it, because I'll come a keyboard warrior. You could call me that. I could not believe that Conch Shell was a song that people thought was gonna be the road march. I couldn't believe it. I really, it blew my mind. And then when Stage Gone Bad came out, I was like, wonderful. Because I was playing Masters here too, and if I had to cross the stage to Conch Shell, I was walking. And I was walking in front of all of the cameras so that people could see that I was not pleased. Because my birthday was Carnival Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy yourself.
Exactly. I don't have a choice. But if Conch Shell was playing, I would have cussed and carry on. I would have gone to the DJ and say, hey, run Stage Gone Bad, and we go in again. Call back all the masqueraders.
I crossed the stage 9 times I got in the tumor this year.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to be there. But I crossed the stage, and of course, because I wasn't supposed to be there, I stayed for all the trucks.
Right.
And they played the song over and over again. But here's the thing.
You don't get tired of it.
I get fed up.
You don't get tired of it. Because it's quality music.
And the thing too, as I said, it goes counter to a lot of where the movement is. It's its own unique beat. It actually telling a story, even for a power song. I was gonna say what?
No, I was gonna say that there's an old calypso by Maestro, I believe. That I don't know if it's the name, but it talks about Trinidadians not really knowing what they want. And I think that clearly it existed then, and I think it still exists today. So a lot of Trinidadians say they want more power, the music too slow, this and that. But then they love off Savannah Grass and Feel the Love by Freetown Collective, which was not only one of the biggest songs in soca this year, but it's a moment in time, and I believe that things are going to pivot from there. Freetown has also said on record that they are joining Jimmy October in his movement, which is New Calypso. And they don't refer to their album, which they released on Ash Wednesday this year, Yago. It sounds like soca, but they're calling it New Calypso.
Interesting. I really love Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy October is great.
Yeah.
And
he is so unique, though.
Can we talk about Jimmy, but not just Jimmy?
1 second. So talk to me about Jimmy. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, Jimmy October and New Calypso. Now, Jimmy October is not just a wonderful Trinidadian artist. I think that he is an idea. Much like romanticism, or much like what romanticism has taught us about art, is that people love being part of an idea, or love being able to follow an idea. And the idea that Jimmy October represents is the freedom to express yourself in whatever way you want to express yourself as an artist. He is not interested in making soca music, even though he's Trinidadian, and that's absolutely fine. And I believe that he is at the head, he and some others, and I'll call those names as well, are at the head of that movement in Trinidad and Tobago. Artists who could love soca, and a lot of them do. It's just not the music that they want to make. That's not their space. And they have decided that they don't need to go in that space. They're going to make the music that they want to make, and they're still going to do well, right? Jimmy October is one. Calpi is another. Calpi is making fantastic music. If you haven't listened to his EP, which is called Home, you need...
Don't listen to EPs.
I'm talking to the people now.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to Home, listen to Home. It came out this year. He actually released it during the season, and I can't wait to ask him why. You know, because that's a bold move. There's Calpi, Jimmy October, Kutin, who's doing...
That's an Easter egg, guys.
Who's doing the damn thing. He's killing it. His EP, fantastic, product of Big Blood. Listen to that.
I listen to the two man write these things though.
Yeah, great work. There's some other artists as well in other spaces. So, well, I feel like I only call in the Grande men because I'm gonna call Cas Fuego, right? Other than that, there's Chinaka, who's an R&B artist who's making excellent music. There's Giovanna. There's Just Liz. All three of them female R&B artists in Trinidad and Tobago, young female R&B artists in Trinidad and Tobago who are doing an excellent job. They're creating wonderful music. And there's so many more, but if I try to get into all the names right now, it's gonna take a while.
And you'll make me look very ignorant.
But that's fine, because that's what the space is about. It's accepting your ignorance and moving forward, you know, and it's fine. But talking about Jimmy October, anytime I speak about Jimmy October, I have to talk about coffee. And the reason why I talk about coffee is because coffee is 20 years old.
It's kind of crazy.
That's insane. I said something in a group chat yesterday, and I think the person didn't quite understand what I was saying or why I was saying it. I said that it's insane how easily, that's the word I used, coffee has made it into the industry. And I think that was the statement, you know, and she was like, easily. And I said, what I meant by that was she's been in this industry for just over a year, and look at what she's done already. Coffee has hit a hit single in several different like top 100. So not only in North America, but also in Europe, right? As Toast. She also released her debut EP Rapture, which was excellent. She then got a song with Gunna, and it's her song with Gunna featuring. Gunna is a big US artist, right? And Gunna is the featured artist. She got on to the Daniel Caesar remix of Cyanide, which is fantastic. She won a Grammy at 19 years old. She won a Grammy. That's crazy. And further than that, I think Adele also did that recently. Well, not recently, but Adele also won a Grammy at 19, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong about that one. I think the most recent thing on Coffee's list is that she has a song with John Legend called Don't Walk Away. You don't just get a song with John Legend as an island youth.
20 years old now.
You don't just do that. That doesn't just happen. And I think that a big part of the reason why that has happened is because of the culture in Jamaica. Jamaica supports their own like no other. We don't have that here. We wait till our people get big and then we want to support them. And that is so that makes it harder for us, not just our artists, but for us to be on the map. You know, like no one knew who Keyshawn Walcott was until he make it into the finals of the Javelin. Me too. I'm not excluding myself from the group. But nobody knew. Nobody knew about Jason in cycling until he was in like the top 8 or something in cycling. Nobody knew, right? Nobody knew about our sailors who are doing well.
They're mashing up the scene.
Nobody knows about our triathletes who are doing well worldwide, right? No one knows about us until we make it ourselves. So it's almost like, it's like a parent saying, you go and you make it into the world and then I'll come back and check you so I can reap the rewards, you know? But that's sad. You had to love your own before the world loves you, or before the world loves your own, right? And now we are suffering too because of that culture that we have around letting our people make it on their own and then wanting to support them.
That's harder on them as well, not just on the
but the world then tries to take what we have and use that. Drake, right? Drake is known for picking from other cultures and making it the next big thing, right? And then we have Justin Bieber, Sorry. That's SOCA.
That's actually true, you know.
If you listen to that song, that is a SOCA song, right?
I feel that.
But we not treating soca like an art form. We treating it as fun. We get to vibe to it come carnival time and we cool with her. But that's not enough. It's an industry. And the industry is not just carnival music. It's good music. And we need to start capitalizing on that and making sure that the world knows this is Trinidad and Tobago. And it's not just soca. It's all of our artists. It's everything that we create needs to be treated that way. And if it's not treated that way, then we will end up suffering and we will not be able to reap the benefits. Just imagine this. Imagine that we promote our artists the way that Jamaica does. And we represent and support our artists the way that Jamaica does with their artists, right? We could start having shows, concerts featuring local artists only who have global hits. Can you imagine how that's going to benefit the country economically? People coming here for festivals, not just carnival time. We could make a whole next season out of Java, and there's already conversations about that happening because that's band launch season 2.
Facts.
So they're connecting the carnival to the other types of music, right? And everybody's benefiting, but we're not looking at the long run. We just want to make a quick money. We want to make a big song. We want to make a hit. That's only gonna ring off in Trinidad and up the islands. That's not enough. And in the diaspora of course, but that's not enough. It's just not enough for an industry. It's enough for a kid who wants to have fun making songs. But it's not enough for an industry that has to live and feed people.
Amen to that. No, I could not think of a better way to wind this down, guys. Dion, it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Always learn something new. Your mind is always working. You know?
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. I can kind of relate to my interest maybe elsewhere. But I think you really inspired me. I think a lot of viewers will be grateful. Maybe take a slightly different look at what are we really doing when we sing a soca song? You know, where do we want this to go? And as you said, we need to start supporting our own full send 100%. So that means you just need to follow
anything related to
on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you think you don't know what song is the latest hit, Dion has it.
Yo, and we make the music easily accessible, right? We get the music from the artist. So if there's any artists out there looking, all you have to do is DM us, email us, say, hey, release this new song, release this new album, release this new playlist, whatever. Can you feature it? And every Friday is new music. Sometimes Saturdays, depending on how much music comes out that week. Guaranteed, because there's so much music coming out, and it's so good, so much of it. I'm not gonna say that there's not trash songs, but that's for the listeners to find out. There's some songs on there that I don't like, but that doesn't mean that the person doesn't deserve a platform.
Amen to that.
This person's still trying. This person is still putting in work. And again, well, not again, but this is absolutely free. I don't charge artists for what I'm doing, because I think the decision to become an artist is enough to get support. Once you are creating quality work, I think that's enough to get support. And that's to get support right wrong. Luke, thanks for having me. I have so much more to talk about.
We had more planned.
Honestly, yeah. So, like, if you ever want to have me on again, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Give people a break though, because they had to listen to this one and then loop it and listen to it again. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, you had to let it sink in.
You know.
But yeah, things need to change, and we have to start with two main things. I'll end off on that. Soca needs to not be for carnival only, and we as a people need to support our own more, and that's all of our own, not just the big artists, not just the people who make it, right? It can't just be Marshall, Kes, Bungie, Faye, and Destra. It can't just be them. It has to be everybody, and everybody who's making quality music. So once you like an artist, support that artist. How do you support that artist? You stream their music, talk to your friends, hype up the artist, share their work on Instagram, on your story, whatever. Just do your part, because it's our responsibility, the people, to get the artist to where they need to be. They are putting in the hard work. They are putting in the hours. They need our help now. They could only do so much.
Facts. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Join me next week, and we'll see where we go from there. And definitely you're coming on again. Because
can't wait.
These kind of things with culture, it's forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's forever. All right, and that's our wrap.
All right.